everybody. This is the first time I've done this, so forgive us for any tech issues. So listen, this is our first call in the group. I'm so excited for everyone being here. I can't even begin to tell you. This is such a pleasure to have everyone here and for us all to connect. It's just brilliant. And today is our first meeting together. So this is awesome. I want to introduce you to Duda. So this is Duda. Duda's coming to us all the way from Cairns in Australia. And it's 6:33 a.m., I believe, with Duda. So it's pretty early. Yeah. So just a little quick background. So I met Duda, it must be over 2 years ago now, when we were, on an interview series, The Best Version of You. And oh gosh, I just adored Duda from the moment I met her, basically. And then we set up a retreat in Paris, and Duda came over and shared her wisdom within the group. And it was just lovely. And I just felt very connected to Duda from the word go. And it was lovely to meet her in person. And since then we've had COVID, and we've been forced to kind of separate again, but thank goodness for technology. So I'm going to hand straight over to Duda and let her tell us all about herself, and just connect a little bit more. So welcome, Duda. Thank you for being the first one.
Thanks, Ali. It's really lovely to be with you ladies, and thanks for inviting me. It's really lovely to know that we have a space where we can just connect and be who we are, really. And so, about me. So what would you like to know? Would you like to know about my work, or what would be the best thing to start with?
Sorry, I was muted. Whatever feels on your heart to share with us today about, your wisdom, because you're a wise woman for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Buddhist teacher and life coach and psychotherapist. And you and I met because of my coaching, and we're doing similar things where, we made it our mission and our life purpose to actually help people in realizing themselves. And so this is what I do. I was, living in London for 11 years before I moved to Australia, and I married a gorgeous Australian man. So that's really my private side. I also became a stepmom, which was a very interesting journey. And so here I am, turning 44 in a month. And wanted to maybe share with you about some realizations in my life, because I think this group is about realizing, what's important to us, who we are, what we can do. And I think because that is a big part of who I am, I'm really focused on my work, as you know. I think maybe that's something I want to share, just to not inspire, but maybe just to relate to other ladies in the group, because it was a pretty I'd say a pretty tough 12 years in a good way, but also in a challenging way. And I think I want to share these three realizations that actually came to me in the meditation before I prepared, just to kind of connect with ladies, to let them know that if they're going through some challenging times, that it's okay and they're not the only ones, because I think that's something that women don't necessarily talk about enough. So 12 years ago in 2009, I actually had my first realization. So hindsight is a wonderful thing. So now I'm looking back. So there's three realizations that are kind of led me to where I am today. The first realization is in 2009, when I, as a sociologist, I think I realized that I'm not trusting the society and what it tells us. So I'm not a conspiracy person, but I think in 2009 I lost quite a lot, and it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, why? I'm this good girl and I'm doing everything right, and hardworking and nothing is working for me, and I'm losing people and, reputation and jobs and everything. And that was a big realization for me, that these promises of the society, the materialistic promises and the conventional truths, if you like, are pretty much a lot of shit, in my opinion. And I think that was the biggest sort of like U-turn for me in my life. I was 32 at the time, and it was pretty scary. I was in London. Everybody's in 9-to-5 jobs. Everybody's getting married. And here I am, homeless, lost my job, lost my network. And I was really screwed up. Like, I was really in a bad place, but I would call that phase a rebel phase. So I became a rebel, and I'm like, no, I'm not listening to this noise. So I think the first realization is like, is what I've been told true or not? And I realized for myself that I did not trust the systems and everything that I've been told, and I need to go my own way. And so that kind of led me into the entrepreneurial world, where I started my own business with nothing, and I really studied hard, like in terms of like Steve Jobs and how to do things on my own terms. And it really paid off in the way that I found my own sort of courage to explore, like, wow, what can I actually do? Like, am I that small girl, or can I do bigger things? And I did big things. And I think that was, I would encourage everybody to give this a bit of thought, because that's really important in realizing who we can be. When we just realize, okay, my voice might be a bit different to the loud voice of the society that I've been constantly brainwashed with, and suss it out for yourself, which one doesn't speak to you. And I think that's really, really important. And then what happened as a consequence, I was really working my arse off, like 21 hours a day, like bonkers. That rebel phase lasted for 5 years, and I created a company, and I was really in a good spot, materialistically speaking. But I then realized, oh, I'm still not well. So, okay, now I know what I can do, but I'm not well. How? So I realized, oh, there is more that I need to discover. And I think that's where I ended up in a Buddhist monastery in Nepal, where I very quickly realized that I've been focused on the external success, and that the inner world was totally neglected, because I was so focused on having and being a reputation in my own little entrepreneurial world. And I realized, oh, I just replaced the 9-to-5 bullshit job with a job that I like, but the motivation while doing things were the same. Like, it's how am I perceived by others? Am I good enough? And so that intention was wrong. And so I was sort of like spiraling in depression and burnout. And there was in Nepal, in the monastery, I'm like, fuck. So I want this success, but clearly, like, I neglected the inner world. And that's kind of like my hermit phase. That also lasted probably 5 years. I also lost my father in that period of time, which was just, accelerating my hermit phase, where I went inwards. So I kept my business, but I think I focused on, okay, we need to build this from within. And I think that's where I really realized how complete I am and how incomplete I was before. And I think that's the second biggest realization, that there is more to me. It's almost like, 50% was missing, and I wasn't aware until 2014, age 36 or 7. And that's where I really dug deep. And as you know, I became a Buddhist teacher. I studied with the lamas, and I started to change my career, I guess. So I started to think, I'm actually not here just to run companies. My biggest sort of talents are teaching other people how how to realize their inner world. And that's where I discovered a lot of spiritual truths, like law of attraction, law of karma, and stepping out of the victimhood that we don't even know we're in. We all in victimhood. We all think, oh, things are not fair. And I think that's where we really stuck. So I think that was the biggest gift in my life, that I really had the opportunity and the ability and the devotion to actually really study, to take responsibility for my happiness. I think in that phase, I realized there's no one to blame. There's only me to take actions. There's only me to look into why things are happening. And I realized, on this stage of life, there's a whole life happening behind the curtains, and that's where, all the strings are pulled. And so I realized, okay, I have to dance on this show. This is a human material life. But I also realized the what drives us and what regulates our emotions and how we feel, our entire well-being, is happening behind the curtains. So yeah, I was in that hermit stage, I think, until beginning of 2020. And I entered now in the third phase, I would say, which is, I'll call it stage, although I think it's pretty pretentious to say that. But I'm consolidating things right now. So another realization is that in the hermit phase, I realized that it's a pretty lonely place to be when you are awakening to spiritual truths. And so I'm very happy that I have met you and Natalie and all the ladies in Paris, and all the clients that I work with right now, and then students that I taught, because it's pretty lonely to be authentic. It's pretty lonely to have the spiritual awarenesses, because like in the Matrix movie, I'm awake, but I can also see who's asleep, and there's many, many more that are asleep, right? And so here I am consolidating this, what I learned, and I'm in a phase where I'm actually now okay with the loneliness. So it's not that I'm lonely, it's just that I can now function better with people who are not awake. And that was really hard to imagine in my hermit stage. I think that to be okay with people who are not spiritual and people who are, on a completely different page, I say it brings a lot of peace, and it just allows me to feel that, like there is no opposite. We're just all on different paths. And but I think in this stage of my life, I would say that I really function with one foot in the quantum realm and one foot in the material. So I guess I'm consolidating this balance of being the achiever, being proactive, functioning in a very pragmatic way. But it's not more important to me than my morning meditation or my law of attraction practice, because every success that I get is, I know it's down to the spiritual teachings and the truths, the spiritual laws. And I think that's a very interesting realization, where I don't make deals with people. I make deals with the universe. It sounds very woo, but I think that's, I would say I would, those three realizations are really the big ones in my life.
Wonderful. Like, wow. And I remember, so you came to Paris, it was October 2019. So it wasn't last year, it was the year before, because of COVID. And so you seem more serene now. I mean, you were super connected and wise, and wow. I mean, the ladies that were in the group can vouch for that. Like, you were just amazing. Very good at seeing us. And I remember the conversation. You were so funny because you were always meditating, even with your eyes open. It was so fun. It was so fun. But there's a lightness about you now? Do you feel that there's some, like you said, you've come to kind of live in those both worlds? And I remember you referring quite a bit back then to there was some frustration, or you were dealing with anger, feelings of anger and frustration. Is that still with you, or is that evened out now?
So that's really what I think I cured that anger. I think I was very angry. I had moments where I'm pissed off, like, come on, people, wake up. But I'm also at peace with that. So I was very angry. I was really angry at the world. And my view of the world is still not a very positive one. I'm pretty aware. I think oversensitive. I do not know what the ladies here experience in their lives, but I am an oversensitive person. I had to also learn how to navigate this oversensitive. Is that really wise? And it's not. Like there's nothing to be oversensitive about. There's just like facts. It is as it is. So let's just find peace with that. So I don't necessarily see life as a beautiful place. That's my struggle. But I'm not angry anymore that it's not the place that I think it could be. So that anger disappeared and made me also a little bit more humble, because if I'm angry, well, I'm just part of the ugly, the ugly part of the world that I don't like. So I think I became more kind and compassionate with what is still very much behind in this world. And yeah,
amazing. And I mean, you were always kind and compassionate with us. I just, you were very vulnerable and honest with us, and I just remember that you were in a different stage then. So do you think that COVID and the whole situation has helped with that, or has it just been your timing?
And no, I don't think COVID had much to do.
Interesting.
I mean, of course, it had an impact on me, but COVID had a very positive impact on me, because I was in my hermit stage before COVID, so I did not really learn that much from, like things stopping, because I sit still for a very long time, where I'm not surrounded with a lot of distraction, and that's a hard thing to do, because it's like, oh my God, it's like sitting in a cave for 5 years and meditating with yourself, there's like demons can't hide. So I think it was just my own timing. COVID helped because the world was also a little bit quiet, which suits me. So I think I used that quietness of the world really greatly. I wrote my book, my business exploded. Focused. I think I'm just focused, but this humble period is kicking in now, where I'm like, Duda, mind your own business and don't think about the world and what people should do. That's up to them. We all on our own journey, different things.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting you say the hermit stage, because I call that the surrender stage. Like, it's like just going in and just reading, meditating, and that stage, it is a beautiful stage actually. And how do you balance that now then? Because, with the archetypes, like once a hermit, always a hermit to some degree, but that's transitioning now, I guess, for you.
Yeah, but it's almost like, it's like you are molding your identity on the go. Identity, the self that doesn't exist according to you. So it's kind of like I'm becoming. We're always becoming, and I'm not realizing. It's not it is opposite. Like, it's very opposite to have a business meeting and meditating. But is it? You know what I mean? I'm trying to blend it so that I don't see it as two extremes, because that's pretty draining on our energy as well. And so I think that's why you probably also sense that I'm more balanced, because I'm just at peace with both, and I feel that just energy-wise just blends into just a peaceful acceptance of things. So I talk openly about things. I'm not scared of bringing up something spiritual in a business meeting. There is no heaviness when I talk about it. There's no pressure. There's no judging. There's no preaching. And I think that I realized through that being comfortable about blending these two worlds through my own practice, but also through conversations, I actually think that it has an impact on people, that it opens up some conversation. I learned about people like, oh, yeah, you know about that? Great. I didn't know that. Whereas before, because I had this need for everybody to understand that there's more, I think like they just don't want to hear it. And yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's like it's your process and it's funny, isn't it? Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's really, really beautiful. And my final kind of thought, you mentioned about your law of attraction practice. What is that you do for law of attraction?
So I understand law of attraction. So I really gave it proper. I mean, when I want to study something, I study properly. So I don't jump from one thing to the other just because it's trendy and everybody's talking about it, which I'm still pissed off, as you can hear from I know that people do it. I really took it seriously. I'm like, no, that there is something to it. I tested it so many times, it works. And so I started pretty arrogant and testing the universe, like that's pretty arrogant. But the more evidence I collected that there's something to that theory, the more I was willing to just embed it in my practice. So I really learned everything from Abraham Hicks. Now, she's not everybody's cup of tea because you really need to understand what she's saying, but that conviction of hers just sits with me really well. And, you know, I study other spiritual teachers who explain the same thing from just different ways. Like Joe Dispenza is a really good one because he really explains the biology and chemistry, and that really works. But I don't necessarily learn anything new. It's just a different terminology of the same thing. Abraham Hicks was my girl to go. And so I just practice it every day. I get everything in my life by law of attraction. I don't sweat things. I fundamentally do not want to sweat things because that's not self-love. And as a Buddhist, I am here to achieve things, but not at the expense of my well-being. And so law of attraction is really a daily practice for me. So the most important practice is to, if you don't know how to start and you don't know what to do, I say study it or come to coaches who can teach you that. And for me, if even on a bad day, if I can't do anything more, I just tune into love and gratitude and joy. And I stay away from the topics that give me grief. And I just stay on the topic that is always easy to tune into love. For example, if I have a really bad day and I'm worried about, let's say, getting clients or money or whatever it is, I just learn to stay off that topic. And I'm like, okay, what's the easiest way for me to feel gratitude or love? And it's always my husband. So it's not a brainer. I don't have to think about anything. You know, I just close my eyes or look at him and I just absolutely adore him. So this is the vibration. And that's enough. Like the universe doesn't need me to tell it like what I want in my life. It knows. So my job is to tune into the right vibration, right? And so, yeah, I pretty much love my husband.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Like really to have him there and be your easy kind of get you back in the right flow every time. Amazing.
Yes. And find joy, because Buddhism can also be pretty heavy. You know, it's about accountability and integrity. And it's like, you know, being like, you can't hide any demons in Buddhism. You have to face your ego, and it's brutal. And that can be heavy, you know, and so I had to learn joy. So you would find me cooking a lot or baking, because it's just like, I'm just happy in that moment. I don't care who's going to eat the cake, but I'm going to bake it. And things happen. Like when I bake, client inquiries come in. I don't sweat things. It's literally like that. It has been for a very long time.
Wow. I love that.
It's beautiful.
How fantastic. And the meditation helps every morning as well, I guess, because it just sets you up for the day. And then it's just a case of realigning. Do you have a mantra or anything like, or it is just a reset mentally?
No, I don't have mantras. I combine the Buddhist meditations, which are super easy, with law of attraction meditations. So tuning into the energy and going into the future scenarios and feeling it as if it is. And I find it extremely easy, all of them. And I meditate a few times a day. I would probably, I still do that. I meditate probably 20 times a day. I do. Yeah, but it's not like sitting down and doing nothing. I can meditate on the go because it's recentering. It's just recentering, You go off the track, somebody pisses you off, recenter. Because if you keep going, you're in the wrong vibration. Nothing good will be attracted. So I constantly recenter.
I know you shared some of that in the little school of Buddhism, the focusing and the meditation of bringing your awareness back to the object that you're looking at, and it's clever. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. It's easy.
Yeah. Well, it's a visual thing that we can all. Yeah, I can imagine it's easy from that point of view, but to keep making that important it takes practice, I guess.
Well, it takes commitment. So people who, as I said, there's nobody to blame. So if your life is shit, that's a reflection of your actions or inactions. And I will never change my mind on that. Yeah, and a lot of people are lazy. It's much easier to stay in comfort zone and get others for the circumstances than to actually do something about it. And so, if I have to pay the price to meditate, and by the way, that's the most beautiful moment of my day. Like meditating is almost like having wonderful sex with your husband. It's beautiful. It's not a price to pay. It's like a privilege. Wow, I have 30 minutes in the morning to experience this amazing thing. And so meditation has a bad reputation because people are actually not learning from the right people what it is. So making it the first thing in your life, that's self-love. It's not a sacrifice. Like if I love myself, I'll meditate. If I don't love myself, I won't. And it's very simple.
Yeah. Alignment. And you've always spoken so beautifully about your husband as well. It's just so, gosh, I wish I had, I think we all wish that we had that kind of connection. It's amazing.
Yeah, but that's law of attraction, how we met. That's another story.
Yeah.
Maybe a video on love stories and then we can all jump in. That would be a lovely one.
Yeah. Wouldn't it just? Oh, well, listen, thank you, Duda. You're just really. Oh, no, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I apologize because I can't see your questions if they are in the chat. So maybe, Duda, afterwards you could, if there's any in there, you could go in and answer them if they've got any questions. Or and we're looking forward to everyone else show. Oh, no, it's gorgeous. Thank you. Sending you lots of love. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, or evening, depending on where you are. And we'll see you next week. So I'm going to send everybody a list, but we have Jessie VO for joining us on Friday. And Jessie is an awesome, larger-than-life woman. As we know, she's all about confidence coaching. So she's going to be with us on Friday. And then we have a couple of other special guests, ladies within the group, Natalie and a couple of others as well next week. So I will just reconfirm with everybody. And listen, this offer, I'd love everybody to come in and share at some point. So I will be reaching out to everybody at some point. So just so that you're aware. And if you don't want to share, that's totally fine. It's just, we're all about connection. And I can highly imagine that Duda shared something today that's resonated for you. And it's just about sharing our wisdoms and our wins in life and, empowering each other. And I think we could all do with a bit of encouragement and some good news of late with everything else that's going on in the world. And it's connection. All right, ladies. So thank you. Have a great day, a great evening. And thank you again, Duda. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.